Well, hello there. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jan, your engineer turned integrative nutritionist. And if you are new here, this is the place where we unpack health and wellness and nutrition in a way that is practical to apply. I really try to be scientifically proven or scientifically backed. And we throw in a little touch of spiritual relevance. And if that is your vibe, go ahead, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. Make sure you stay in the loop when I drop the next video. Gosh, I feel like I need to welcome myself back. Just had a lot going on for the past couple of weeks and lost my voice for a couple of days. And oh Lord, for those of you who know me, know I lose my voice. That's pretty bad. But anyway, you've been here for a minute, you know, for the past couple of sessions, we have been talking about what's killing your cells, right? It's a series that exposes the hidden threats that's killing your cells. And basically, I'm going to show you things that you can do to fix those. Last time we were here, we talked about statins and antibiotics, right? And those were pretty, got some pretty good reviews, or not necessarily reviews, I guess, but some feedback for that particular session. Well, today we're going to dive headfirst into two of the most commonly used, I would say, but often misunderstood medications, and that would be acid reflux meds and painkillers. These are the ones that you grab without even blinking the eye. This whether it be Tums, because you got that regret, those extra spicy wings you may have ordered and knew you shouldn't have, or it's Advil because you have this killer headache and you really just need something to stop the pain. They're in your life, they work, but they're not as innocent as they seem. Now, before I get into this session today, I want to just speak to you from my heart. Hear me clearly say, I am not anti-medication. I'm not. What I am is pro-wisdom, right? My heart is to do everything in my power to maximize my health. But on those occasions when I may need medication or something, I look at medication as a tool to help me get over the hump, if you will. And so I want to learn everything I can about it, like not only what it's doing in my body, how it's working in my body, but I want to be aware if it's breaking stuff down also, because that is the way that I can fight back. That is the way that I can support my body in its quest for help without just blindly hoping for the best. And so I just want to make sure that that's where I'm coming from, because I don't know, just some conversation I had after the last video. I wanted to say this, like, if you're the kind of person, or not just kind of person, but if you happen to be someone who has to take a statin right now, that's okay. You can get your CoQ10 levels checked, right? This is just a blood test, right? And if you are deficient, then guess what? You can supplement. Or if you're taking an antibiotic, you can work with that too, because you just take a multi-strain probiotic 2 hours after you take the antibiotic. Now, I know that there's some people who say you can take them at the same time. You really don't need to. The point to me is that you actually take them. You don't sit for years and years like I know I did as a child, because I didn't know better. And even as a young adult, something happened, infection, and I get a lot of sinus infections and things like that because I didn't really associate my infection with perhaps an allergy to a food or something. Anyway, I was taking a lot of antibiotics, but I wasn't balancing it with probiotics. And that was really causing a lot of issues for me. So there are things to balance what you're doing. I'm just saying medicine is a tool. And I want to learn how to do it better for my body and help teach you how to do the same thing. Okay. So today, let's get into, we're talking about these two deals right here, anti or acid reflux medications and pain killers. Okay. Today we're going to break down what they are, why they can potentially be trouble, especially for your mitochondria, and then we're going to look at some practical ways to start fighting back. Is that all right? All right, now with your acid reflux medications, first, we know that they're like a go-to, right? When you have heartburn, that fire in your chest because maybe you ate that taco you should have left alone. Whatever it is, we know what that fire in the chest is. Whether it's Tums or like Pepsid, which is a H2 blocker, or or if it's even Prilosec, which is a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor. That is a over-the-counter drug, but some people have such significant issues, they get a prescription for something like a omeprazole or something like that. Whether that is what you're taking or not, if you have GERD, right, and that reflux, and that's just burning, and you need some kind of relief, whatever that is, or like I said, I said the taco, maybe it's the wings, whatever it is, you're taking it. These things are obviously popular because they obviously work. And I get it because, like I'm saying here, it's a quick win. You're in pain. You feel this discomfort with this heartburn or this acid in your throat or your esophagus, all this area. And so you take the pill, you knock out the acid, you knock out the pain. I get it. But it's just not the best thing for you. I mean, and we take Tums. I mean, I remember even seeing people with Tums like an after dinner mint, right? They just pop them. But you just want to be careful with them because even though they calm your stomach, they stress your body. And this is what I want us to look at today. So what can I say? You need to understand that it's causing stress. In fact, what I want you to do for me right now, if you or somebody you know has ever taken one of these because you've had heartburn, go ahead and put heartburn in the comments. Let me know I'm talking to the right audience, okay? You or somebody you know. And here's the thing. Most people think heartburn is a result of too much acid, but oftentimes it's not enough acid. And I know that's kind of counterproductive. We don't really think that, but it is. Whatever may be the case, though, your stomach acid isn't a design flaw. We need stomach acid in order to digest our food and in order to basically absorb the nutrients that are packaged in the food that we eat. Nutrients like magnesium, right? Or vitamin B12, iron, and this is particularly non-heme iron that's present in the plants like the spinach or whatever that you're eating. Zinc, critical for our immune system, or even calcium. All these nutrients are bound up in the foods that we eat, and we need the acid to get access to these nutrients. And the reality is, if we don't have them, then we're gonna see, especially if you're taking a PPI, and this is really critical. And I know I'm focusing kind of more on the PPIs because a lot of people are taking those with just, like I said, because we're thinking we just got too much acid and we need to get rid of it. But you need to think of a PPI, particularly a proton pump inhibitor. When you're taking that and you're getting rid of the acid, you are also basically pulling the plug on the power to your nutrient absorption factory. So all those nutrients you see here, when you're pumping or popping PPIs on a regular basis, you're telling your body right now, don't absorb these nutrients, at least not to the maximum of their capability. And we talked about the mitochondria, so you understand, like magnesium, that's the one that keeps the engine humming, right? B12, all these different reactions that go on inside the body, these nutrients are critical for those things to happen. So you don't want to inhibit your body's ability to do this. You're going to interfere with muscle repair or damage repair. You're going to interfere with energy production. You're going to interfere with your immune function, even brain health. All of these things are affected if you begin to experience deficiency in any one of these nutrients. Okay, and you know what that affects, right? You got it, the mitochondria, because those nutrients, like we talked about a couple of weeks ago, those are nutrients that are critical for you to produce energy. It's kind of like how when I talked about CoQ10, that if you don't have CoQ10, if you're on a statin, and statins typically deplete about 40% of your CoQ10. It's like how, I did this little example of the moving truck, right? Moving the boxes from one mover to the next until it gets into the truck. And that CoQ10 takes one electron, moves it from this complex, moves it to the next complex. And so if you're taking statins and your CoQ10 has been depleted, then you're not moving electrons, and therefore you're not making a lot of energy. You need to think like that with respect to taking these pain pills. These are the nutrients that you're depleting from your mitochondria, and therefore your mitochondria can't do what it's supposed to do, which is help your body make energy. That is your power plant. Okay, so, and here's the thing, if you're um, if you're not, if you're taking these pills on a regular basis, you're also putting yourself at risk, because if you are taking a PPI and you're knocking out your acid, acid is there to help your body kill some of the bugs that come with the food we're eating, right? Some of the bacteria. When you get rid of the acid, though, you get rid of the thing that's killing some of those bad bugs. So then those things repopulate and just go a little cray-cray in your system. And now you have gut damage, right? So now you're affecting the cells in your gut. So that's important to know. And I'm not just going to paint a bad news picture here. I hope you figured out by now. If I'm going to tell you the bad news, I'm going to give you the good news. And that's what we're going to talk about. So as soon as I get the computer to act like I want it to. Okay, very good. So like I talked about, the gut becomes an issue. You start having all kinds of intestinal issues, whether that be symptoms like leaky gut or things like that, because these medicines are tools, but they have side effects. And I just want you to be aware. So now let's talk about, that's the NSAIDs. Let's talk about painkillers. Woo-hoo-hoo. Okay, so we have the pain pills. This is something that most of us keep in our medicine cabinet, right? Like you have ibuprofen, like Advil, acetaminophen that's in Tylenol, and naproxen in Aleve. Those three types of medication, painkillers. Let's talk about the NSAIDs, which are the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, right? And everybody has those. You do. They're in your purse, right? In the glove compartment of your car or on your desk. Because I'm not above having pain that I want to get rid of too. But just hang with me. Hang with me. So like I said, the NSAIDs and acetaminophen. And we take them, why? Because we have things like a headache, we have cramps. Boy, thank the Lord I don't have to deal with that anymore. Or we have just general achiness in the body because, I don't know, we're doing some workout maybe, or let's be real, some of us just slept wrong. Whatever it is, we pop the pills because they work, right? But that's just not all they do. When it comes to the NSAIDs, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, they really directly affect your mitochondria. And it's really more like they, how can I say this, compromise the integrity of the walls of the mitochondria. It's not really that they're poking big holes and making that kind of damage, but they're weakening the structure. And when that happens, basically it's not allowing certain nutrients that are supposed to stay in. Now these nutrients on the inside of the mitochondria are leaking out into the regular cell, the body of the cell. Or you have, certain other, sometimes it's even a nutrient like calcium, for instance, that would come into the cell. And it's not that you don't, or into the mitochondria, it's not that you don't need calcium. It's that you need the amount you need when you need it, right? So, enough is enough. Too much is too much, and some ain't good for nobody. I totally messed that up, but enough is enough, and too much ain't good for nobody. Okay. Mama Z, Mama Anna, that's what I mean. Got that from her. Anyway, when you have these type of non-steroidal drugs, they are going to affect your mitochondria. And when this happens, you create a lot more oxidative stress. And when you have a lot more oxidative stress, you're going to use your glutathione. Glutathione, remember, is an antioxidant that our body creates to kind of help us deal with these byproducts of just regular cell functioning. So when you have too many NSAIDs, you're affecting your mitochondria. You're affecting your mitochondria here, particularly because, and I'm focusing on this because you'll see in just a second, because you're creating oxidative stress, you're increasing your oxidative stress. And by increasing your oxidative stress, you're also decreasing the amount of glutathione you have available for just normal functioning in your cells in your body. Now, when it comes to acetaminophen, I have this picture of a liver here. And yes, looking at this little picture, those are spike protein, not talking about that. This was just an image to give you an idea of what happens because acetaminophen and NSAIDs are actually broken down by the body a little differently. Acetaminophen works more on the central nervous system. NSAIDs work at the point of pain or inflammation. But when it comes to how it is metabolized in the body, both of them are done in the liver. But for acetaminophen, the breakdown of acetaminophen creates a byproduct, and that byproduct is actually toxic to the liver. So if you are taking a whole bunch of this pill, right? You run the risk of creating liver stress because in order to deactivate that toxic byproduct, your liver is going to use what? Glutathione, right? And glutathione, you got to get it in your head. It's inside the mitochondria, yes, but it's also outside the cell. It's in different places in the body. If the cells of the liver cells themselves, not necessarily just the mitochondria, but the liver cells themselves are under stress, they are using the glutathione that's outside the mitochondria, right? To help offset this toxin. Well, if they deplete that, then you have nothing to go inside and get inside the cell and get to the mitochondria. And so now you're depleting your stores of glutathione. I am getting quite shiny and hot. But anyway, so that's important to know because it takes a lot of use of these pills, these pain pills over a long period of time for you to really see liver stress, but not if your liver is already stressed. Most of us aren't eating a perfect diet. Mm-hmm. If you have any kind of liver stress going on, whether that, like, there's so many people in this country, in America particularly, who are just metabolically dysfunctional. There are a lot of people with prediabetes, diabetes that don't even know that they have those conditions. And so stress and strain on the liver is just something that they're dealing with. They think tiredness is just, a function of getting old or older. They don't think about some of the signs that they're feeling, some of the symptoms that they're feeling are associated with their diet and what they're eating. So what I'm telling you about this, because if you happen to be in a situation where your diet isn't the most perfect, and you know that, and you happen to be popping pills, and I need you to understand that just doing the metabolic processing, if you will, of the pain pill in the first place is going to cause some stress to the liver. In the case that you are particularly not have the most healthy liver, that's just not going to work in your favor. And so I want to make sure that you're aware of that, because when your liver gets rid of this glutathione, as I've talked about before, glutathione is like a fire extinguisher. And what you do, how it works in your body is when there's oxidative stress in different places, the glutathione is available, manufactured by our bodies, to help put out the fire. But if you keep putting things in your body that's sucking up your available stores of glutathione, fire breaks out, you can't do nothing. Cells get destroyed in your internal oxidative stress fire, okay? So I need you to understand something too. Abuse is not necessary to feel the effects that I've just been mentioning. It isn't. You can just be taking these things for a long time, or yeah, just a long time. Like most, particularly with the PPIs, I know that those are like supposed to be just a couple of maybe what a maximum of 8 weeks, if it's 8 weeks, that ideally when they were first introduced, that's like the maximum time you're supposed to be on them. And people are on these things for years. So long-term use adds up. It's like piling on the damage, piling on the side effects. And if in the context of what I was just speaking about, you have a liver that's under stress, you may be one of those few people that because of some already existing stressors in your body that you may not need to be aware of, your blood work may show some elevated liver enzymes. It's not necessarily the case, but I'm just letting you know that it could happen. So you would need to, just have that checked out. And also, if your liver is stressed, you may notice some nausea, some extra fatigue that will indicate the liver stress. But listen to me, don't freak out. Don't freak out. This is where this video gets good, if there is such a thing, right? Here it is. When you're dealing with acid reflux medicine, here's what you can do. First, have your doc check your need for PPIs. And this is what I mean. Now, if you're going and getting, self-medicating, which I'm not a fan of, and I'm not saying that you should do that, but if you have been prescribed one, then have your doc really, you can have your levels of acid checked to see if you're in a case of, like I mentioned at the onset of this video, you may have too much acid, but you may have too little. And you would need to check whether you can first taper off the dosage that you're on, because you should not just stop. Do not do that. You could put yourself in a situation where you're having like a rebound acid production, and that is horrible. So you need to have some supervision, someone with some knowledge working with you to taper off or taper down. Okay. Then I tell you to eat smart, small, nutrient-rich meals. You don't want, if you're having acid issues, you don't want to eat a lot of big meals, because that's just going to produce a lot of acid. That's going to cause you a lot of extra pain, discomfort. But when you're eating things like, your spinach and fish and eggs and all the things, the foods that are replete in the nutrients that the medicine that you're taking may be depleting, making sure you eat those foods so that, no, you're not going to, if you have some acid issues, you're probably not going to absorb as much as you normally would without the acid issues, but you will absorb something. And that's the idea. Then you can do other things like naturally soothe yourself. So ginger tea, take a knob of ginger, like an inch, shred or grate some ginger, put it in some warm water, have a soothing ginger tea that will soothe your stomach. Or use slippery elm powder. One of my clients, Maya, we'll call her Maya, she has been having some gut issues. We've been working together, and what I had her do is just take some slippery elm powder and put it in a cup of aloe vera juice, that's unflavored aloe vera juice. And man, she can wait to tell me how much better her gut felt, her esophagus. She's suffering from a little GERD. And so she's felt the burning in the throat and all of that. But slippery elm helps to really support your mucosal lining, helps your body to just, manufacture more, get it a little thick and strong. So we've done that. We worked on some other things to help strengthen her gut wall, all these different things. And then just posture. For her, I make sure, hey, when you go to bed at night, especially if you're feeling a little testy, do not lie flat. Don't do that. Make sure you have an elevator. You're keeping your head elevated just so the acid won't, just because of gravity, the acid will be more inclined to stay in your stomach. And then, like I said before, discover your true acid level. This is after you've worked with your doctor to lower your PPI and you're down, hopefully even off of it. You can test with a teaspoon of organic apple cider vinegar in a glass of water. If you do that before you eat and then you eat your meal and you're fine, that probably means you have too little acid. But if you do that test and it burns on the way down or it's horrible, whatever, that likely means you have too much. And so you would make, your decisions for how you move forward accordingly. But still, the idea is to don't just think because you're experiencing heartburn, you absolutely have too much acid. Now, you can also test for deficiencies. This is particularly, I would even say recommended if you have been on a PPI for more than 3 months, because at that time, with consistent use, I'm pretty sure your levels of these nutrients have probably been, if not depleted, absolutely affected. And so testing will tell you whether you need to do something like supplementation or, again, a very focused diet supplementary plan. And then you just boost your energy. Yes, our body makes glutathione, that is an antioxidant, but you can take vitamins A, C, and E. Those are antioxidants. Eat a lot of berries, right? Berries are wonderful. Kiwi, antioxidants, walking right after you eat, 15 minutes, or 15 minutes, a couple minutes after you finish eating, walk, and then sleep. Sleep does the body real, real, real good. 7 to 8 hours is wonderful for your digestion. And then just get support, if there is, that you need help or you feel even overwhelmed, then work with a nutrition professional, someone who's willing to work alongside you. If you'd like to work with me, I'm going to put the link in the description. Don't worry, there's no pressure. I'm just trying to offer you the support if you want it. Okay. And then when it comes to painkillers, here's the thing. Ice therapy. Try that. 10 minutes with an ice bag or, an ice pack on your spot of, if it's something, a sore muscle or something that you hit, something place where you are inflamed. 10 minutes on, 10 minutes off, because we're not interested in giving you frostbite. And the ice actually dulls the pain and calms down the inflammation. Turmeric tea. This is a wonderful one. You can use turmeric, teaspoon of turmeric, cup of water, warm water. If you could put turmeric, a teaspoon, same teaspoon, in a cup of soup, maybe do some fresh cracked black pepper on top of it, because black pepper has piperine, and piperine helps your body absorb more of the curcumin that's in turmeric that is anti-inflammatory, and it dampens the pain also. So that's something natural you can do. No pill needed. Okay, what about magnesium cream? Now, I use a magnesium oil, particularly when I'm getting ready to go work out, or if I know it's going to be a hard workout or a hard walk. I'm going to walk my 6 mile trek. If I'm doing that and I know I have a hilly path that I like to do, then I'll use that magnesium oil and make sure I put it really good on my calf muscles, particularly. Sometimes, though, if have had a rough day, I can just put the magnesium oil either in my bath water or after I'm done with my bath water. Then I can just rub down a little and it just helps you sleep. You can also use a magnesium cream to do that. And then when I say eat clean, I mean kill the sugar, because sugar increases inflammation and that just increases your pain. And we're not trying to do that. Okay. Stretch it out. If you're sitting like me at a desk all day long, roll those shoulders, maybe roll them back 10 times and roll them forward 10 times. Whatever you do, even just stretching, just normal stretching, just to relieve the tension. Sometimes your muscles are just in knots, and just stretching them out relieves the knot, relieves the pain. Real simple. And then supplement, that's another one. N-acetylcysteine, this NAC, that's a nutrient that actually is a precursor to glutathione in our body. So you can get a supplement of NAC, and that helps helps your body, I would say, produce more glutathione. And finally, consider milk thistle. It is very liver supportive. I know there's some people who may, some research, depending on how you do the study and how you set things up. Some people may say it's not as good as other people will say it is. I can say from my personal experience, it's been wonderful. So it helps your liver, particularly if you have to take medication, then take milk thistle because it is supportive of your liver, okay, in this detox phase, and it helps to preserve glutathione. But whatever you do, talk to the doc. So, what are the key takeaways for today? Here we go. Medications are powerful tools, y'all. They are. We need to treat them like a tool, though, right? If you misuse them, they have the potential to sabotage you and they will rob you of your energy, your focus, and your long term health. We don't want that. Remember, even if you have been having to take these kinds of pills, the NSAIDs, the acetaminophen, for years, for months, you're not stuck. You are not stuck. Right now, you can begin restoring your cellular health today. You really can. You really can. It's possible. Again, if you need support or guidance, there's going to be a link in the description, just waiting on your click. Now, we've done our statins and antibiotics, and today we did the acid reflux and the painkillers. Well, next time we're either going to talk about metformin or antidepressants, or we can kind of switch the whole thing up and we can do electromagnetic fields in your space and how they affect your health. I'm going to let you decide, depending on if you do it early enough. So go ahead and put in the comments, hey, which one would you like? Another medicine, one of those two or both? Well, those two are going to come together. Or would you like to switch it up a bit and let's just talk about electromagnetic fields? Whatever you do, either one of them is going to be a good session. Make sure you tune back in to make sure you don't miss it. And you know what I always say, if you like the video, hit the like button. It really helps me. It really helps the algorithm. Y'all know how YouTube works. It helps me be able to help other people. Subscribe so you will be notified when I do another video, and then share it with someone in your circle who may benefit from hearing this. Okay. So I love doing these videos. I really do. It's an honor and a privilege to me. I'm grateful to all of you who've been responding, and just even those who don't want to respond, but you've been, DMing me or whatever. I still appreciate it. This is something that it's like a way for me to just give back. I love learning and I love sharing what I've learned. And if this is good for you, I hope you come back and join me next time. Okay. Have a great day. And until then, keep your cells humming. Okay.